Drag me over the hot coals. Give me the rush. I want the late night phone calls. Give me the rush. I know we got to where we are, running through stop signs, crawling on our knees over finish lines, hanging on a life that is do or die. So anytime you need a reminder, I don't want the things that I need. Don't want it if it's easy. Just it's worth the squeeze. It'll always sweet, but you can lay it on me. I don't want the things that I need. Don't want it if it's easy. Just it's worth the squeeze. It'll always sweet, but you can lay it all on me. I will hold up the ceiling when you're getting the legs. And when I feel that I'm fading, you give me a break. You know I want the real deal, not the sleight of hand. Something that grows, not just expands. When nothing makes sense, you understand. So anytime you need a reminder, I don't want the things that I need. Don't want it if it's easy. Just it's worth the squeeze. It'll always sweet, but you can lay it on me. I don't want the things that I need. Don't want it if it's easy. Just it's worth the squeeze. It'll always sweet, but you can lay it all on me. Give me the rest. Put me to the test now. Give me the rest. Put me to the test now. Give me the rest. Put me to the test now. Give me the rest. Put me to the test now. I don't want the things that I need. Don't want it if it's easy. Just it's worth the squeeze. It ain't always sweet, but you can lay it on me. I don't want the things that I need. Don't want it if it's easy. Just it's worth the squeeze. It ain't always sweet, but you can lay it all on me. Give me the rest. Put me to the test now. Give me the rest. Put me to the test now. Give me the rest. Put me to the test now. Give me the rest. Put me to the test now.
Come on, tough guy.
Sons of Scotland, I am William Wallace, and I see a whole army of my countrymen, but they'll never take our freedom!
Welcome to a bonus Wednesday night Flat Earth Hangout. How are you doing this evening, brother?
I'm pretty good. I'm relaxed. I'm looking forward to the content. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Yeah, the content. So we had planned on covering this on Sunday, and we didn't get to it. So we had YD, we had Seth. They called in, and we went through the interview, the final experiment interview that I did with Will Duffy, and we got other people's perspectives on it, and we think that's really important. We want to keep doing that. But in doing so, we didn't get the chance to go through the damage control that Jeran had done. I think it's 5 days ago now. And we said we would go through it and we would do a bonus stream, and that's what this is. So we keep our words. In fact, there's a hit piece for an infiltrator that I said I was going to do it. I still have to get that out, but everything's real busy right now with all this all the things transpiring with the fake final experiment. So, you know, we've got timestamps tonight. I went through and timestamped. So Will Duffy did a eulogy for Bob Enyart. I've got that timestamped up and ready to go. We've got some guy named Nachakita that interviewed David Weiss. that is a really interesting thing that we want to cover. So we definitely have plenty of content for Wednesday, Sunday, you name it, right?
You're just like getting so backlisted. There's so many things that you're. This is like seems like a month ago that. So Jeran's come out and he's doing the damage control for Duffy, because Duffy wouldn't talk about any of it. Like it was weird. If you haven't seen it on the other side of the screen, you need to click on the interview or the final interview with Jason and Will, and you'll see exactly him getting triggered. He didn't want to talk about his family. He didn't want to talk about Enyart, and there's a good reason why. And hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it tonight.
Absolutely. So we've got Jeran's podcast that he did, number 98, that we're going to be going through, at least the last half of it. We're going to go through in detail. We're going to be able to point out some serious problems with the Jeran and the stance that he's taken. And we got some videos that we want to keep re-upping in everybody's minds if it doesn't take too long to get through Jeran's thing. But is there anything else that you want to talk about before we get into it?
No, just thank you everyone for being here, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week. And the week's almost over, right? I mean, it's Friday now, and we'll be getting into more podcasts this weekend.
Let's do it.
You were my first true love. You gave me all my first drugs. Behind that rock at the lawn, we were 15, so young. Always getting high on the roof. That's when I wrote my first song. Once you took me on the bridge, I was on your handlebars. Flashbacks making me crazy. You and all your boys used to haze me. All I have left is the photos. What do I do with the memories, baby? Wind in my hair, New York, where it all started. Summertime air. We were 16, we would never get carded. Wasn't it fun? All night in your old apartment. We were so young, so why am I still so broken-hearted? You told me a lesson how to live. Saw me like no one else did. Once I climbed over that fence. Free house for the weekend. I can feel the weight of your hands. I was princess of romance. Rose petals up in my room. I even tried to play in your band. Flashbacks making me crazy. You and all your boys used to haze me. All I have left is the photos. What do I do with the memories, baby? Wind in my hair, New York, where it all started. Summertime air. We were 16, we would never get carded. Wasn't it fun? All night in your old apartment. We were so young, so why am I still so broken-hearted? I don't care if we come down. I don't care if we come down. I don't care if we come down. I don't care if we.
And we are back. And we are at the Jeranism show, number 98. I just want to point out to everybody, 163,000, and it's YouTube verified. Does anybody know what it means to be YouTube verified? That's a truther out there? That means...
Well, I mean, Jeran's against the word truther. He thinks they're all idiots, right? So anyone out there who knows anything about how YouTube works and what it means to work for somebody like YouTube.
Yeah. So it means that this is the authorized content by YouTube. Jeran's got the check mark. He's authorized by YouTube. The idea that there would be any flat earther with a check mark right here is so crazy. So crazy. But Rob Skiba had one. Jeran, who else has got a check mark?
I think Robbie Davidson. I don't think David Weiss ever got one. I think ODD definitely had one. Eric Dubé had one, I think, but I don't know because he went after the you can't name the nose.
Yeah, it's a bad thing to have a check mark, everybody. Jeran's got one.
It means you're an employee of YouTube.
Yep, recommended. So we're going to be getting back to this timestamp right here. This is in the thumbnail if anybody's paying attention. This is really important. But we're going to rewind, and we're going to start in the middle of this at 107.07 and work our way back to that. And so 107.07. Let's start checking this out. As usual, brother, stop me anytime you want to interject.
Got it. You got it.
So that's why he's coming back next Thursday. Get us a little closer. You've got the jack-offs over there at the Jason and Ronnie show. By the way, just to, if Duffy's watching this, Duffy, props to you for sitting through that. I don't know what's wrong with you. I would have been gone in 2 minutes, and I think anybody would have been gone in 2 minutes. You do not have to deal with people like that. That was
so bad because all I did is ask the normal questions that any sort of investigative reporter would want to ask. We've got this new guy coming in, and yeah, there's no rude questions. I mean, people get sensitive now if you ask them about how much money that they have. But here's a guy that's claiming that he either has millions or billions.
I think there might be an echo.
Let's see here.
It should be good.
Okay, yeah, I see where it's at. All right.
Thanks, White.
And so, yeah, the tough questions. And then it's funny because, like I was saying, there's this Nachakita guy that came along and all of a sudden asked David Weiss a whole bunch of questions in an interview that were way more detailed and private than anything that I asked. And David Weiss ate it up and loved it. So the standards here really flip-flop badly. Let's keep going.
was the worst thing I've ever seen anybody do. I cannot believe you put your...
Yeah, so apparently me interviewing Will was the worst thing Jeran ever saw anybody do ever.
Oh, come on. I mean, is this for real? Can people not see that Jeran's like, going a little bit overboard here? I mean, you weren't mean or rude. You were serious. It was a serious thing for you.
Yeah.
You didn't act or fake it. You were pumped up. You had them on. You were serious. You wanted to know. I wanted to know the answers too. I wanted to make it. I didn't involve myself in the podcast because I didn't think there'd be enough room, and I didn't want to take away from the ability to get the answers of the questions that we were asking. That was what it was about. Why Jeran has to make it this big, huge personal vendetta. I would have left in 2 minutes and all this stuff. What do you mean? Like, that just shows the content of Jeran. At least Will does get credit. He didn't Alex Stein and back out an hour before where Alex Stein said he was going to come on and then he didn't. At least Will did keep his word. What about you, Jeran? Why don't you come on, Jeran, and have a hangout with us and just talk about this like men and stop acting like little kids?
Yeah, Mr. Scaredy Pants. I doubt he has the cojones to do that.
Yourself through that. Just saying. So these guys Ronnie and Jason have this model that they call their...
What? There's only two models, right? There's the...
That's not a model.
There's the ball in space. There's the Truman Show pressurized pizza dome. And him and Will Duffy continue to keep saying there's only two models. And literally out of his own mouth, he said they have a model. Right? So, I mean, the false dichotomy is exposed. Boom, right there. All over.
Their own. They stole this model. It is a
He's going to continue to try to say that this is a globe. This is a flat plane that has luminaries rising and setting from it. It is a fixed and stationary plane set to the observer's perspective, and it gives real data to the 100th of a degree per second as far as the azimuth and altitude of the sun, any time of the year, any location. And so this is a real model. In fact, we're not going to let the globers or the pressurized pizza domers use any models like this. If a model has the luminaries rising from and setting into Earth, it's not the globe and it's not the pressurized pizza dome, because in the globe it's 93 million miles away, and in the pressurized pizza dome it's 3,000 miles up doing horizontal circles. This right here is our model, not because we made it, not because we own it, but because it represents a stereographic virtual reality where the luminaries are rising from and setting into the ground.
Globe Earth model. They think because the ground is flat here that it means
They think because the ground is flat
that it's a flat Earth model.
Oh, he's going to say, no, this is not a flat Earth model. This is obviously a ball with the luminaries going around it, right? Retard.
This is all directly taken from the globe. This is what Moon Calc and Sun Calc use, and what
Those are other models of ours. Moon Calc, Sun Calc, and Stellarium.
Like nothing. Like everybody keep in mind on the other side of the screen, Jeran Campanella claims to be a flat earther. So he's telling you all of the things that we can measure with are all globes. Everything's globe. You guys do not hear what he's saying. You have to really closely pay attention. What we're showing you is the flat Earth, right? A plane in a 3D modeling program, a flat plane, stationary, right? With the sun, moon, and stars. This one just has the sun. We use stellarium for the stars, rising from below the ground, right? At our circle of sight, rising above our heads, and then setting back into ground. And on the east side, there's 6 gates, and on the west side, there's 6 gates, perfectly matching what the Book of Enoch explained, this complete path of the sun. And we're telling you that this is our model. This is it.
In the dotted lines here, in this yellow path, which they call the ecliptic, you also find the analemma. So all these things are explained right here, and this is a model. This is not a map. It's not a coordinate system. Over here, this is a map or coordinate system. Now notice, this is flat as well. They don't have a pin on a globe either. This is a flat map where as you move your coordinates as far as your latitude and longitude is concerned, it just moves this pin around on a flat map. So all you would have to do is replace the stereographic coordinate system with this map, and all of a sudden, boom, the model is complete. We have model and coordinate system.
what Stellarium uses, and these guys want to say, oh, we have a model that calls for the sun to go around them, and you're using the globe. Hello?
We are not using the globe. We are using models that show the luminaries rising from and setting into Earth.
It's like, hello, Jeran, can you hear me? I don't know if that's coming through. Wake up, McFly. This is a flat plane. And we're the ones showing proof that the sun rises up from below the clouds, into the clouds, and then above the clouds. Mm-hmm. And you can have clouds behind the sun when it's doing this rising part around you in your personal circle of sight. That doesn't work in a globe or on an AE pressurized Truman pizza map.
This is the explanation for underlit clouds. This is the explanation for the sun and moon being below airplanes at sunrise and sunset, moonrise and moonset.
Yeah, there's footage coming in now over on the Telegram group, Reality Check Chat, showing trees, really clear trees behind the sunrises, and we're getting all kinds of new footage. It's just popping off.
Yeah, if you're not at the Reality Check Chat, you are missing where the cutting edge of the truth is breaking. People are constantly dropping those types of clips now.
Hello, McFly. And they just change it to, oh, it's a
You're the McFly doofus.
The simulation, or maybe that.
Oh, he can't remember what it is, even though it's been 7 years of us screaming stereographic virtual reality, because jackasses like this come along and say it's a simulation and nothing's real. That's not what we're saying. Has anybody ever heard of a virtual reality before? Has anybody heard of Meta? Right? Doesn't Meta change their name because they want to focus on creating a virtual reality? Nobody's aware of that, though, right?
That's not what they call
it's a
it.
simulation.
Virtual
simulation. Let's see. He does know what it is. Watch.
reality, because they say the sun rises and sets in the ground. They're talking about this. The sun going. Oops, that's not. There we go. So when the sun sets, they say that the sun goes into the ground.
That's accurate to 100th of a degree.
Yeah, cropped. You can't even see it.
He's cutting off the data, but this is accurate to 100th of a degree per second.
and that means it's a simulation.
No. Virtual reality, jackass.
Anyway, it's funny. But they had Duffy on, and they were just grilling him on. I mean, it was just the worst thing I've ever seen.
Worst thing ever.
I just wouldn't have stayed there if I was him. People have treated that guy like shit. And again,
So here comes the damage control. Now all of a sudden, Will Duffy, the fake pastor, Globe Earth shill that's coming along with a false dichotomy, and everybody's picking on Will, and Jeran's going to have to come to the rescue and defend him, right?
and does he have a funny smirk on his face? Has he been caught lying? Is he a little quirky? Is he tons of reasons that I understand that, but to go to the lengths that some have is a little bit stretching my imagination. Now again, I don't know what's been said, if it's true or not. I'm just saying that.
How do you find those things out other than asking people questions in an interview and then doing the back check to see whether or not it checks out as true?
And why does he always talk for 5 minutes and then contradict himself and say, but I don't really know?
Yeah.
Well, every time.
He's a shill.
I think some of the stuff has been outrageous. These guys thinking that they're the arbiters of truth and can actually... I'm going to just show you part of this so you can see what I'm talking about. Listen to these guys. Honestly, I wish somebody would go through and count the amount of questions asked. They probably gave him...
Hang on, pause it. Jeran, you want the transcript? You want the questions? We can send it to you. We want to publish it or something. You can read the questions for yourself. They're questions. That's what an investigator does. You investigate. If you don't ask any questions, you'll never find anything out, right? And you didn't even get to all of them.
Well,
we didn't even talk.
Especially the tough ones, because Duffy started to act like he was going to fly the coop, so I started having to go soft on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, questions about how Enyart was convicted for he hit a kid with a belt, gave the kid a welt or something, and the Enyart's wife remarried, and the guy was a cop, so they arrested Bob Enyart, and he did time in jail, and then he advocates for, I guess, physical what's the word? Discipline. Right. And these are tough questions. We wanted to know if Will still, preaches that, but I guess he's got everything on his channel.
Yeah. Which we will be going through. We've got like 5 months left, and we're going to be dissecting the crap that he has on his channel as well.
I don't know, 200 questions, maybe.
Yeah, probably. In fact, we can show people the questions that we didn't get to ask either.
Be 100, just rapid fire. I mean,
oh, that sounds horrible. So we've got more questions for you, which is exactly what the Nachikita guy does to David Weiss, and David Weiss asked for it. All right, so the contradictions on this team are extreme. RJ Shine has a suggestion to make the final experiment better as well. He says, take the flight to the South Pole location and film the compass staying locked.
She just goes one after another.
Contacted Andrew Marsh.
Great sound.
Someone contacted me today about 3 hours ago, and they said, hey, Will, you need to know something.
And he gets into asking about Bob
like the
Enyart.
chat there. Yeah, YD and me both saying there's only one son. We never said there was millions or billions of sons.
Yeah, and Will Duffy with this, he just so happened to get a hold of Andrew Marsh 3 hours. Yeah.
Absolute lie. They made that up. That was probably Fight the Flat Earth or one of McToon's. Because they had all this planned because they wanted to debate us, but we're not going to debate them. They can come to our channel, Fight the Flat Earth, McToon, any of them can come on our channels and debate, but we're not going into their forums. We said that after we debated Reds and McRae and all that nonsense.
Yeah, we've won home playing field advantage the rest of the way through the tournament.
That's right. Well, and and like YD's saying, rapid fire, you weren't even really going deeper into the questions. You weren't rebutting them. You didn't give any personal anything. Well, you started to get a little irritated. Then he started squirming and, playing the, I don't like it here. He started doing all that stuff. So it sort of threw you off. You got a little bit more angry but he had it easy. You said you weren't going to be debating him. Except he wanted to debate.
Yeah, he tried to turn it into a debate. I just wanted to ask the questions and get his positions, because then I knew we could come back and dissect it all and expose all the lies in it.
We're going to talk about that
The
in a second.
material reality that we've been taught by scientists that goes back to the ancient Greek philosophy of atomism is impossible.
So just to point out something real quick, because I don't think people recognize who Duffy is or what he says. I mean, listen to this interview and you'll find out things about what his feelings are on heliocentrism versus...
Oh, now all of a sudden Jeran's going to say, listen to this interview and you're going to find out these things, when he was saying this was the worst thing ever. Now, I'm going to rewind this. Pay attention to what Jeran's saying. He's saying, listen to this if you want to find out the real information.
Out things about what his feelings are on heliocentrism versus geocentrism. You'd be surprised. What his thoughts are on dinosaurs. You'd be surprised. What his thoughts are on the age of the earth. You'd be surprised. What his thoughts are on evolution. You'd be surprised. This is not your run-of-the-mill glober here. This is a preacher who has...
What, and how did we find that stuff out? Is by asking him the question.
I know. Like, and the crazy thing is, your channel is super jacked, but in a negative way. So if you get 10,000 views, they'll put 200 views on your channel. If you get 100,000 views, we caught them back in 2016 rolling the views back. So Jeran's sending people to your channel. You got David Weiss also in that Nakachita channel, whatever it's called. He also sent people to the interview. He's sending them to your channel. And so, what are these guys doing? Wow. I'm shocked that you're even on the screen right now, but I guess with the other side, they always knew, because none of them are real flat earthers. They've all been ball earthers the whole time, trying to straw man the fake flat earth so that they could do this final experiment and take it down. But here we are, and we're coming out hard. So their attack is actually only against us. The only reason Will Duffy took the interview was to tell you that he talked to Andrew Marsh.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, do you know who Andrew Marsh is? It was like, Will, we talk about Andrew Marsh every single podcast. We it's not a secret here. We're not hiding it from our viewers. And then he continued to go on and on and on. But here we are, still continuing to show the truth. And all they want to do is try to attack you, saying that you're insane. The ad hominem attacks is just ridiculous. There's no need for it. Now, what I wanted to point out mostly here from that last clip is we've got Jeran. Again, I bring it up over and over again. Guy hates the Bible, hates the creator of the Bible, hates it, like, vehemently. Tells you that he won't respect that murderer and all these other things that he'll throw down. But now he's saying that this guy here, Will Duffy, he's a great pastor. Bob Enyart was a great man, a great Christian. Right. And so what does, and they keep acting like it's cool to believe in dinosaurs. Hello, hang on. I don't know if this comes through, because I know Zoom cancels out a lot of stuff. McFly, dinosaurs are part of the evolution Freemasonry hoax. I mean, how are people this retarded out there? How do you not see? And then what they'll tell you is that dinosaurs turned into chickens, right? Remember Casey from Enter the Stars said that.
Yeah.
That dinosaurs are, my chickens outside are descended from Tyrannosaurus Rexes, right? No. Nothing has ever changed. If anything has happened, things have gotten worse. They've degraded over time due to the laws of entropy, if you want to believe in the stupid scientific laws. But so Jeran is defending Freemasonry dinosaurs, okay? And then acting like it's interesting that Will Duffy, he said that he didn't know the difference between the heliocentric and the geocentric models. Even though when Jason asked him, how was daylight created before night and day? How was night and day created before the sun? And what his answer was, the earth spun, which is heliocentric, not geocentric. So, every single thing that he did, it completely contradicts himself. Now, again, lastly about Jeran, I mean, are people this stupid? You know what? I don't want to say that people are that stupid, because I was a non-truther. I believed Morgan Freeman. I studied quantum mechanics. I went all in on all of that stuff, the outer reaches of the distant galaxies into the edges of the known universe and the Googleplexes and how we measure them and quarks. And so I get it. But when you do wake up and you realize that dinosaurs aren't real, we're not driving our vehicles around on decayed dinosaur fossils. They figured out that all decaying matter in reality turns into oil.
everything that grows, that's life, everything turns into oil. Okay, they take our garbage and they make oil. They make different types of gases from it, and so dinosaurs decaying into the oil is not real. It's part of the Freemason Big Bang. So a flat earther should know that there's no such thing as the Big Bang, right? But the dinosaurs need the Big Bang. They prove it because they were so old. Oh, but now they're saying that dinosaurs are young, but all they're doing is continuing to put fake, not real animals. Listen, if you go to a museum and you ask to see, I'll stop my long rant here, a dinosaur bone, they'll tell you that they can't show you them. And you'll say, well, why? What do you mean? I want to see. Show me the real. So it's called a holotype specimen. Don't ask me why they call it that. But they say due to a meteor that struck the Earth, that the radiation is so toxic in the bones that you can't hold them. It'll make you sick and you'll die. So no one has ever held an actual dinosaur bone. They're in some locked up radiation place. So anybody that tells you that dinosaurs are real, no one has ever seen any evidence of them. And the stupid tracks, the big thing was somebody went with a sledgehammer and a crowbar and defamed one of them. And they were doing it because you could clearly see that it was done with tools, right? They needed to get better tools to make their little dinosaur prints. So again, I just want everyone to really understand here that anybody tells you that dinosaurs are real, nukes are real, that, I won't continue to say all this stuff. We're going to get banned.
Yeah. And so Duffy and his mentor, Bob Enyart, are dino guys, young dinos with still living tissue intact.
A lot of the beliefs that are in line with us, obviously he
says that they have a lot of beliefs that are in line with us. So listen to the beliefs that were in line. Hear these again.
Surprised. What his thoughts are on the age of the earth, you'd be surprised. What his thoughts are on evolution, you'd be surprised. This is not your run-of-the-mill glober here. This is a preacher who has a lot of the beliefs that are in line with us.
A lot of beliefs that are in line with us. The things that he just listed. So those are the things that Jeran and Duffy are aligned on.
Obviously, he
what,
thinks
the heliocentrism?
Yeah.
Dinosaurs?
Yeah.
God, what do you mean? No way. What's he talking about?
That's what he just said.
Or sphere.
I mean,
do you want to hear it again?
Yeah, play it again, please. I'm sorry. I can't.
What his thoughts are on dinosaurs, you'd be surprised. What his thoughts are on the age of the earth, you'd be surprised. What his thoughts are on evolution, you'd be surprised. This is not your run-of-the-mill glober here. This is a preacher who has a lot of the beliefs that are in line with us. Obviously, he thinks that the Earth's a globe or a sphere.
Hang on, a preacher? A preacher who has a lot of the same beliefs as us. He doesn't believe anything that flat earthers believe.
But he does believe it's a globe, and that's when Jeran agreed, right?
And he wants to prove that it is or isn't by going on this experiment or doing this last experiment. Now, again,
not an experiment.
His idea is, if he wants to call it the final experiment, that's fine. Is it
go on
final
an
for me? I just
experiment.
got done telling you that if I went down and saw the sun go around my head, that I would come back and say, it seems like the ball Earth right now is winning in terms of which evidence matches reality.
Yeah. So Jeran's saying it's final. He says, he can call it final, but it's final because I'm going to say it's a globe if I see a 24-hour sun.
The next day, somebody shows me a model of flat Earth that calls for a sun to go around my head like that, I would immediately...
The jackass. The model is literally on the screen above my head for the location. And it does go through the days that this is going to be taking place. There's the model accurate to 100th of a degree per second predicting it.
Yeah. Just so in case anybody tuning in, the screen behind Jason with the sun circling in the sky, that is the flat Earth virtual reality stereographic coordinate system model that we're using. And it's showing the days that Jeran is going to be there and where the sun's going to be. And we want Jeran to actually get measuring devices and not just stand there, doing whatever he does. We want him to actually measure the angles so that we can check and make sure that our model is accurate, that the sun is that close, it is at those angles, it is circling around his head at those heights. And Jeran actually has to do something for that to happen.
Be a flat earther. Does that sound like final to you?
Yeah, you just said so.
Just because somebody calls something, that may be final for him, but it's not for me. Okay? And it wouldn't be for me. I would still go where the evidence is.
He's already proven that he won't.
So if I get back and say that, and nobody ever comes up with a way for the flat earth to explain what I saw,
It's on the screen right there.
clearly the flat earth cannot be correct.
Oh, no, if it matches these measurements right here, then we've got the exact map and model, coordinate system and model.
It's that simple. It's not even difficult. And yet people are losing their minds when we haven't even seen that yet.
Oh, we're gonna talk about what's been seen already. That's coming up, everyone.
You guys are all already assuming that we will see it, which is crazy to me. It's like, well, then what have you been doing for 9 years? Didn't you realize that that would be a problem if we did?
Yeah, we did. That's the reason why we came out against the fake flat earth.
Obviously not. Anyway, he starts asking him questions about his dead friend and just gets really, I mean, things that...
Bob Enyart, which is going to be the topic of so many people's discussions about this guy all the way through, right?
The way that he loaded that, he asked him questions about his dead friend. So first off, Jeran, Will brought up Bob Enyart as a pastor that he took over for way before Jason did, right? Way before. So, and why? And Jeran has brought up Will's dead friend. So I guess you're only allowed to, if you bring somebody up that's not with us anymore, and if you say anything other than just sweethearted things about them, you're a shill, is what Jeran's trying to imply.
Well,
right?
Jeran's going to get into Bob Enyart in this hangout.
And so what the most important thing is that we want to make sure that our audience, the people that we hang out with, our friends that come here and click on our channel, that they understand that we're saying that there's a very good chance that Bob Enyart works for some kind of an intelligence agency, and he's used for many different tactics. And what we're saying is that Will Duffy stepped up and took over when Bob died, right? And we don't know if Bob had other complicated issues and he died of something that they're calling, you know, what they called everything that people are dying from. But we do want to show the evidence that it looks like they are an intelligence agency used for many different Tavistock type mind control programming operations. And if we're not allowed to talk about that, how are we going to show our audience what we're investigating? You know, Jeran is supposed to be a man about the truth. Doesn't Jeran always say the truth doesn't fear anything? And, you know, you shouldn't be afraid to speak any truth or ask any questions. And here you are just asking simple questions and you're being shamed.
Yep.
Ask him his net worth. Just things that, why would you think that's okay to ask somebody? I don't know. Even in my interview, I thought I asked some questions that were a little bored.
David Weiss just went on the Chiquititas guy's channel and said that Jeran gets paid $30,000 a year for YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, and then he's coming on here and asking like it's embarrassing. This guy's supposedly saying he's a multi-millionaire and he's funding all of this. And we need to get down to the questions. So where is the money coming from? How much do you have? Like, this is the questions were already asked of him, but not your style, right? You were being mean. If everybody looks, Jason was steaming hot. There was smoke coming out of his ears. You were screaming at him, I guess. I don't know.
Will's his buddy, and he's trying to damage control for him right now.
Borderline questionable, but I didn't ask him things like that.
Whoa.
But these guys, they believe in a model that is the globe, that they just say is...
It's not the globe. It literally has the luminaries rising from and setting into Earth. Is that what the globe says? Is that the globe model, Jeran? Does the globe model have the sun, moon, and stars rising from Earth, being a fixed plane with a fixed observer? Is that the globe model? Because that's the model that we use.
Is a stereographic virtual reality.
Wow, he got it. He got it. Stereographic virtual reality. He knows. So that was that section. Let's go ahead and jump ahead to this section here.
I clicked on the military millionaire podcast, but I actually clicked on it's over.
So that's another thing. He was on a podcast called the Military Millionaire. So they've made the assumption that he was in the military or something. Just terrible research. He wasn't in the military. So he was on a podcast named The Military Millionaire. That's it. And yet people are going on and on about he's in the military, he's a military guy.
Here?
No, he's not. The other thing he says is he goes, if you notice in all these finance posts about him, nobody ever mentions he's a pastor. That's suspicious, don't you think?
Yeah, so we asked him about it because that's one of the first things you find is his Military to Millionaire podcast where he says at 33 he became a millionaire. So he denied being in the military, but come on now. He's supposed to be this millionaire guy, and he's on a podcast about military to millionaire. It's fishy. It's very, very fishy.
Yeah, well, birds with the feathers flock together, or whatever they say, right? What Jason and we're not on any millionaire to military or whatever videos, right? I mean, it's a good question. We assumed that if he's on a podcast called From Military to Millionaire and he's the millionaire, he started from military, right? Which I'm still not willing to state that's not what happened. I don't have any evidence. When we started to get to the good evidence, he screamed and he didn't want to answer. Next question.
And being a pastor, because he wasn't. So what are you talking about? Let's continue on a little bit here. So then he goes, this is like the first 40 minutes is him developing a connection between Will Duffy and Bob Enyart. Will Duffy has said numerous times, Bob Enyart was my best friend. So you didn't need to spend 40 minutes making a connection. They're best friends. That's the connection.
So
you don't
hold
need
on a
anything else.
second. Now the context is switched from Jeran talking about us. He's now talking about these guys on the screen, the satanic experiment, they're calling it.
Yeah, and it was terrible when I asked him about Bob, and now here's members of his own team. Like this guy here, what's his name? He was just in that.
Yeah, I don't know for sure if you could zoom in on it if it's the same guy. Sovereign Soul?
Yeah, this guy right here. He was
Is that him?
He was just in Jeran's
Is that
live
Sovereign Soul?
with the mic guy.
I think somebody in the chat, will probably Virtual Reality Witness or Zworst, will probably be able to tell us. Is that the same guy that was just smoking dope with Jeran on the watching? Hey, go figure, you guys. I talked about how most of Jeranism's channel live streams were him sitting on the ISS looking at fake ISS footage in the sphere Earth. Now he's gone back to, he's made a new podcast where he's just going to watch NASA videos now in a theater and get high.
Yep.
Yet
And speak real like racist and bigoted.
Dirty too. What is wrong with these people? Like, It's gross. It's gross, the stuff they're talking about. But hey, if you want to watch Jeran, his channel's there. I'm not trying to tell people not to watch it. I don't want Jeran to be censored or taken down. Like, go and watch it if you want.
he's going on and on about this is how we know that they work together. This is how we know that. Yeah, he's claimed it's his best friend. So it's not a surprise. Now, they go even further and actually claim that Bob Enyart is the one who killed JonBenet Ramsey. Because Bob Enyart is in a satanic cult. He's a satanic cult leader. Now, where did they get this information from? One crazy fucking girl.
All right. So, yeah. The accusations were made that Bob Enyart was involved, right? He was considered a suspect. And that's all over the place. In fact, we're going to be showing that even comedians were joking with Bob Enyart about his connection to the JonBenet Ramsey murder, right? Which we've already talked about, that the whole thing was probably a psyop
Fake.
as well. Yeah, fake.
Hoax. Nobody died. Nobody got hurt.
One crazy girl that went off on Bob Enyart. Supposedly they had some tiff at the church, and she started claiming things about him. He started claiming things about her. Next thing you know, she's actually making websites saying he killed JonBenet Ramsey. Then she's going on and on for years about the fact that the government won't do anything about it. The police won't do anything about it. Well, it's because you have to have evidence. Okay? I think back to Eric Dubé. How many people have come to me and said, Jeran, how come you were involved in stealing $80,000? How come you... It's because Eric Dubé posted in his forum that I stole $80,000.
We've already shared the Google search results that had you showing up as a Bitcoin scammer.
Yeah, so there was allegedly hundreds, over $100,000. It was a charge that somebody's wallets were robbed. And there was another kid that made a video and he was shaming Jeran right? Saying that Jeran was a bitch and that he squirmed and that he sang like a bitch or something like that. They had some weird Jesuit battle going on. I don't know what it was, but there was clear evidence that was there that Jeran was involved in something nefarious with Bitcoin. So we're not just, Eric wasn't just throwing that out. Everything that these guys, him and Will, do the same thing. You'll hear everything that they have against them, they just try to rationalize off. The other person's just crazy, right?
That's what they try.
With zero evidence. He just posted that. But people believe it, and then they come to me and ask the questions. It's like, dipshits, if I stole $80,000, go tell the police.
And he didn't get caught.
Go tell them that you know who stole it, and then let them come investigate me. That's how it works. It doesn't work that you could just steal $80,000, have your name on the internet, be talking about it, have somebody accuse you, and just be like, not worried about it at all.
That's literally what he's doing.
No, if I stole $80,000, call the authorities. And they will investigate, and they will show you.
Do you think the Freemasons are going to come after the top-level Jesuit that's in the process of trying to prove the Earth's a globe?
No.
That you're very, very wrong. In fact, they've done it before. That's why the website that was JeranCampanella.com has been removed. It was removed by the what is it called?
The Feds?
IC3.
He started to say feds and then he shut up. It was removed. Yeah, it was removed by the feds.
Good evening, everybody.
The website that was JeranCampanella.com has been removed. It was removed by the
feds. Feds.
Your team, the Feds, Jeran.
What is it called? IC3. Okay, because you're not allowed to make and again, who would make a website like that rather than just call the police? Okay? In this case, she's
I wonder how much carrying it took to get that taken down.
The documents I want or the phone calls that I want. You can tell this girl is batshit crazy. So to make your entire
hang on. Again, there's no context here. We'll leave a link to this interview podcast that Sovereign Soul guy and his son did about Bob. We'll leave a link below in a pinned comment, or not a pinned comment, but a comment. So there was a woman that was a member of the same church that Will Duffy, now it's a new name, but the same building, same people. That church was the one that Bob Enyart, who Will took over for, was the pastor. And so there was a lady that went there, and she left the church and she came out and she was saying that Bob Enyart was the murderer. He was a serial murderer too, not just one. He was killing people all over the country. There was all these different names where it's going to take a long time to get through it all. It just looks like theater. So again, is it revelation of the method? Is Bob Enyart really a CIA or a FBI murderer for the government? And what they do is they just come right out and tell you. They have someone come out here and whatever her name was, Coke, I think Reality Witness knows it all. Kikar, they've got weird names. They do weird things. So again, the woman that Jeran's talking about was a member of Bob's church that went on to state that Bob was a murderer, a mass murderer, right? And then she was filing claims with the FBI, and all this is documented on a website. And I mean, this is what I guess Will, he did not want to talk about.
No, he shut down when this came up.
Video, and to call somebody, Bob Enyart is, dare I say, a great man.
Whoa, all of a sudden Bob Enyart's the great man.
He's in love with him, huh?
Yeah.
Was a great man. Bob Enyart died. By the way, let's get this straight too. Because Bob Enyart died of COVID, quote unquote, he claims, he says, oh, clearly he was involved with these people and he was told
I don't know if we should play
that.
This
he was going to die. He was going to go against COVID. Guys, let me explain to you what happened to Bob Enyart. The exact same thing that happened to Rob
Medical
Skiba
misinformation.
Yeah, so the exact same thing that happened to Rob Skiba, and we've already pointed out that Rob Skiba had like 3 people at his what do they call that? The wake, the ceremony type thing, and that he signed his own obituary. Signed it.
Rob Skiba, his own death obituary flyer that you get at the thing. Okay, so the name was Danielle Kakoa. Thank you, Virtual Reality Witnesses. And sure, she seems crazy, but she's an actress, right? So if you do the research, you're going to find Dave J. Dave J was the guy that got famous for singing a song calling Nobody Died and Nobody Got Hurt during all the different major, psyops that we're not usually allowed to talk about here on YouTube. But he showed that there was a mainstream outlet that was actually revelation of the methoding, showing that John Benet Ramsey became Katy Perry, and there were discrepancies about the age, right? They were saying, like, but absolutely, there's a striking resemblance to the two characters. And so, just really quick, death fakers, these secret societies, the Tavistock, the CIA have been doing this for a long time. Jim Morrison's dad was a general in the military, and he became Rush Limbaugh. Right, so they fake their own deaths. The people that say Alex Jones is Bill Hicks, David Weiss says, nah, Alex is way too short. Bill Hicks was taller. I don't know. I don't think Alex Jones was Bill Hicks. They look alike and they had the same manager and stuff, but I don't think they're the same. But the death hoax thing is real. Jimi Hendrix is claimed to be, what's his name, Morgan Friedman. So there are some that don't match, but there are some that are absolutely true. And this is what they do. And Dave J was one of the first ones. And I think he was also in the military, or at least LARPed, pretended to be an ex-military guy. But he definitely said that John Benet Ramsey was Katy Perry turned into. And then you have like television shows talking about it, showing people this is how they do it.
Yeah, there's 3 actual characters in the fake flat earth that met the same demise as Bob Enyart. So you got Rob Skiba, you've got Bob, Blob, Jeran's old partner from Globebusters, and Mac Parhar. All 3 of them had the same exact story as Bob Enyart. So which Caribbean island are they on right now? I hope the hurricane didn't hit them.
Yeah, right? No, they're in the West Bank.
Happened to Bob Enyart. Now, if somebody came out with a video saying, oh, Rob Skiba actually didn't die of COVID, he was involved with them, he wanted to do this, it was all part of this big plan, and he's actually a Satanist who behind the scenes killed John Benet Ramsey. Do you understand how insane that would be? Do you understand? We know Rob Skiba. We know what he's been up to.
Hold on a second. You know what kind of a false equivalency thought experiment is that? First off, Rob Skiba has no connection to John Benet Ramsey. Enyart was actually actively involved in the whole entire situation. It's in his town where he lives, his like neighborhood or something like that. And there's people out here claiming that Bob killed her. It's a direct connection. We don't have anyone telling us that Rob Skiba murdered anybody and that he's a Satanist, although having skulls behind your head in your podcast platform doesn't scream Christianity or life to me, but that's just me.
And he was a radical Judaizer. He was bad.
Do we know what he's been doing? This is the same thing for Bob Enyart. Bob Enyart has been an activist for years. Now, people will make records or comments about his record. Like, yeah, but he went to jail, Jeran. He's a child
Very
beater.
odd.
Okay.
He went to jail. He's a child beater. Yeah, these are the things on his record.
Yeah, so when you do the research on who Bob Enyart is, you find out that he was charged and he spent 60 days in jail for hitting a kid with a belt, right? I mean, it's not that hard to talk about these answers. But the thing that Jeran is saying is that he's this advocate. So he was a public figure that was given a platform, a radio show, right? And he was someone that went to Planned Parenthoods. And after he went to Planned Parenthoods, there were shootings at them and people were killed and shot. There is a deep, deep history here with this Bob Enyart guy. And it's crazy how they're just trying to just play it off like Jeran's just saying, no, there's nothing there at all.
Yeah, so this next section, I think, is where we really get the love fest between Jeran and Bob Enyart.
8, 9, 10 years old. Sometimes you gotta do something. I don't know. But anyway, let me get to that. So Bob Enyart, when he was in prison, do you guys know who Trey Smith is?
Do you know who Trey Smith is, Ronnie?
Okay, all right. So if you haven't heard, when I first woke up to the looking for information and truth, it was because I was looking for extra canonical scriptures. And so I actually know Trey. He was a friend of mine. We spoke a bunch of times and I learned all of his content. So yeah, I know Trey. And I also know that the dinosaur stuff that he tells is not true. And he's, for me, the thing with Trey was that he was so concerned about money. For me, that was enough for me to not want to, I started to investigate, hey, what else is this guy saying that might not be good after I seen that, because if somebody's not out here just trying to share truth, make content because it's what they're passionate about, right? If there's an agenda behind what you're doing, it's never going to be honest and genuine, because to get paid, you have to do things that others want. And usually that's not what is good for the truth. So yes, I know Trey very well.
And he was a spin-off of the Alex Jones network, right?
Yes. No, Trey came up as the evolution debunker. He came up with the Kent Hovind crew. Rob Skiba was in that camp. There was this revival Southern Christian guys that all did YouTube, and Trey robbed a pastor, a mega pastor. It was his best friend's dad, so obviously he didn't grow up poor. And he wrote a book about it, and then he started making content on YouTube, Trey Smith, and then it gets down to Bob Enyart, and what happens in that video is that Bob is trying to argue that they found actual soft tissue for a dinosaur, which they've never inspected any real dinosaur bones. What they do is they just dig in the ground and they actually create a bone in the ground, and then they cast that, and then they just make fake bones from what they actually just shape the ground into. It's really ridiculous. So, and then they were doing the whole, why did it look like somebody went around and smashed up all the dinosaur footprints, right? Because the people that made the dinosaur footprints left evidence that they made them, so they had to be destroyed. And you got Trey coming out yelling at the guy who did the job to go and destroy them, because, hey, someone's going to catch on that we're faking these dinosaur prints. And that's the whole Bob Enyart Jeran thing. And Trey. And Trey was sharing Bob Enyart's research because I guess that's what you have to do when you like want to shill. You got to lie. You got to say that dinosaurs are real. The earth is a ball. And I guess Bob Enyart is a great guy. You got to say these things if you want to get paid.
The love fest continues here.
Trey Smith. Let me bring up so you guys can see his picture. Who, by the way, was on my stream recently.
Yeah, we noticed.
Am I saying his name right? Is it Trey Smith? I can't think of it. Hold on, let me think of what it is. There's Trey something. I can't remember. Yeah, it's Trey.
Smith's the hardest last name to remember.
So this guy here, you've seen him before. This Trey Smith. Yeah.
Some people say that dinosaurs are millions of years old.
Like, he didn't have the clip ready to go.
Yeah.
He was just supposedly searching Trey Smith, and he pulls it up at the timestamp on the dinosaur section with Bob Enyart's name on the screen. And not to mention, we all know what the FBI told us that symbol is. Right there.
What's that symbol right there?
Symbol? It's just keep your children away from people that show that symbol. That's what we're told, right?
Exactly.
Crazy.
I disagree. But don't take my word for that. I ask you to allow me to prove that to you. In fact,
now if you notice here, you'll notice Trey Smith is next to Bob Enyart. Why is that? When Bob Enyart was in prison for those 60 days that he got put in prison for child abuse, he met Trey Smith and converted him to Christianity. Okay? So these are the kind of things that people like can't even... Did you do any research before you decided to claim the man was a Satanist? Bob Enyart has been a anti-abortion activist. He had a news show on the radio that was telecast or simulcast in 70 different radio stations.
Wow.
I used to listen to his radio show.
So Jeran grew up listening to Bob Enyart. This was his like favorite radio guy. Jeran, the most anti-biblical guy in the world. He's the most against the creator, being the creator from the Bible. But he grew up listening to Bob Enyart, he's saying, because he had a great voice.
When I first started getting it, when I was at home.
What?
I like this voice. I'm a little confused here. So how did Bob and Trey meet if Bob was in jail? Was Trey in jail so Trey did time for robbing, I told you guys, he robbed his best friend's dad, who was a mega church pastor. He stole a bunch of stuff from his safe and then ran it into the desert and stuff. But is that the story?
Yeah, I guess when he was doing time, Enyart was doing time, and that's what converted Trey. Was that? Yeah.
No, I want to hear that again, because that's nonsense. I'm pretty sure Trey grew up going to his family they'd like go to church, or he might be a pastor. His dad? I don't know for sure. I don't.
Let's hear it.
On the radio,
he's half Christian, half
Ashkenaz. He had a news show on the radio that was telecast or simulcast in 70 different radio stations.
I think I got to go back further.
And converted him to Christianity.
Yeah.
When Bob Enyart was in prison for those 60 days that he got put in prison for child abuse, he met Trey Smith and converted him to Christianity.
Wow.
Okay. So
Jeran, the most anti-Christian guy, he thinks that this is such a great story.
I'm sorry. I don't believe that that's true. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. I'm pretty sure Trey was a Christian before that because it was a Christian pastor. Well, maybe he had left the Christianity faith at that time, but it's not like he never heard Bob Enyart in the cell with Trey. He just leans over to him and says, "Hey, have you ever heard of the name Jesus?" Is that how it happened?
And then, repeat this prayer with me. Now you're saved, right?
I don't know if that's the way that it went down, Jared.
The salvation prayer.
These are the kind of things that people can't even. Did you do any research before you decided to claim the man was a Satanist? Bob Enyart has been a anti-abortion activist. He had
involved in Fed psyops.
So hang on. That's an interesting. Let's touch on that real quick. Okay, everybody tuning in here. So this Bob Enyart guy, I already told you, he protested at what are they called? He went to the clinic. They protested, and then somebody shot and killed 3 people, I think, the next day there at one of them, at this Planned Parenthood thing. So if you're a Satanist, I mean, do you really want... I think they want as many kids in the system because I know that they have programs set up. I don't know how far I can get into this topic.
Yeah, let's not go too far.
But so just because somebody is against abortion doesn't rule out that they serve as Azel, that they're wicked-hearted people. It's the same thing as the Shriners, right? The Shriners, they do all this great stuff, and then what do they also do at the same time? They're one of the most sadistic anti-Christian killers of all time, if you actually do the research into what the Shriner actually is.
Yeah, so, there could be ulterior motives for trying to save these kids.
Yeah, because I don't understand why is it that Bob Enyart had a radio show and then he actually protested outside of a Planned Parenthood thing. Like, so that's to prove that he's this sweetheart of a guy?
Show on the radio that was telecast or simulcast in 70 different radio stations.
Wow.
I used to listen to his radio show. When I first started getting it, when I was at home doing my book stuff, I started listening to his radio show. He's got one of the best voices in radio. Everything he talked about, I kind of agreed with. Now,
everything he talked about, he kind of agreed with.
What?
Yeah, the Christian.
A pastor.
Yeah.
Bob Enyart, who is claimed to be the leader of a satanic cult that murdered kids. That's what we're getting. And not only that, it gets way more disgusting. That symbol on the screen there with Trey Smith's name, there's a lot of that involved here too. That's probably why Will got a little squirmish, right?
So here he's gone into this podcast and where it actually gets into the website and some of the details. And this is what Jeran has to say about this stuff.
Right into action is another site. Here we go. Bob. Oh, it's murdered. What an idiot I am. Murdered.
Yep.
JonBenet Ramsey murdered. Sorry. Bob Enyart murdered. JonBenetRamsey.com. Shadowgov.com. This is expected the documentary. You can try and watch this all you want.
I mean, Jared, sometimes there's quotes that we should be taking when he says stereographic virtual reality. That's a clip. This one right here, he reads the JonBenet. Play that again, please.
He murdered.
He says he's an idiot. He's right.
Bob. Oh, it's murdered. What an idiot I am. Murdered. JonBenet Ramsey murdered. Sorry. Bob Enyart murdered. JonBenetRamsey.com. Shadowgov.com.
That was like an ad for it.
You can try and watch this all you want.
Look at all this crazy stuff
on
on
the
the
screen.
screen.
From
Convicted
this
child
entire thing,
abuser.
and that would be
JonBenet Ramsey's killer.
Evidence. Okay. True story. Bob Enyart murdered JonBenet Ramsey and wrote the ransom note with group of individuals. Again, the ransom note doesn't sound anything like what he would write. It's got all kinds of misspellings. It's clearly the parents and it says like we represent a small.
So now all of a sudden Jeran knows who the John Benet Ramsey killer is.
Clearly.
It wasn't Pastor Bob because he had such a great voice, right? And
Yeah,
there's no way
the
up.
parents. No, it's the mom and dad. They were nervous. They were making spelling mistakes. Bob would have been calm, cool, and collected, is what Jeran said.
Yeah. Well, and he's a pastor too. Don't forget that.
Small foreign outfit, and she just says, "Oh, that's Bob Enyard admitting that he works for this satanic outfit, even though it's not international." It's just none of. If any FBI agent or police officer found any merit in any of this, they would have done something.
Unless he's one of them.
Yeah, if it's a Fed psyop.
I mean, come on.
Let's jump ahead to 152.
And then said guaranteed.
No, once you know what the plan is, it's pretty easy to see through their shit. Well,
it's not easy to see through their shit. This man died just like Rob Skiba did. You cannot then claim
Fake.
Rob Skiba is controlled opposition.
He is.
Where are you getting that from? Again, can they use people's deaths? We know.
So-
I don't want. I gotta be.
There's still a good chance, you know. I don't want to rule out that these characters are gone. Right. But, you know, they've always done sacrifices, always.
They're probably in the chat right now.
Careful
They
what I'm
could
saying. We know how some people died in hospitals. Alex Stein's mother, Rob Skiba, Bob Enyard.
Again, misinformation.
The worst shills he's naming. These are the evidence, right? Oh, and Alex Stein is going to Antarctica with these guys. It's going to be the Three Stooges down there. Jeran, Whitsitt, and Alex. Let's jump to 223. What do we got here? 08.
Down because there is no 24-hour sun. Not everybody else. False dichotomy, Jeran. You're again, it's presuming the outcome. You're. It's just like people are just like losing their minds. Relax. It's not a false dichotomy if there's only two options. And if you're like,
we just played earlier, you put up our model, the stereographic virtual reality, and said it was our model. And you say it's a globe, but we can prove that it's not. So there is a third model. And yeah, you are doing the false dichotomy exactly like everybody's screaming right now.
well, Jeran, there's a third option. What is the third option besides flat and sphere?
Oh, now all of a sudden he's doing the Will Duffy trick. Flat.
That's the identical argument as Will Duffy.
Yeah. There's flat and sphere. Well, how about there's flat stereographic and there's flat pressurized pizza dome? Huh? Yes. How about that? Mm-hmm. Let's jump ahead to 230.
They cloud up the sunrise, cloud up the sunset. They lock you in your tent. They do anything, and it's evidence of the flat earth. Do you understand? And if the sun goes around your head in circles, that's evidence for the globe, considering there is a model. It's not a false dichotomy. You name any model that shows the sun going around somebody's head in the south.
That would be our model. So the globe doesn't even have a model. Their model would require being able to show all 5 motions. You would have to show the rotation of the earth. You would have to show the earth going around the sun. You would have to show the sun traveling through the solar system and through the galactic arm and the universe. So you would have to have all these motions of everything to scale in order to be able to get a single measurement. So the globe has no model. The Freemason pressurized pizza domers won't even show you images of what their model would look like the stars in motion. And then there's our model, which is accurate to 100th of a degree per second. So, yeah.
He's endless in the chat. There's a few good comments. Worse as well. Widely on top of things. He's begging the question. It's a false dichotomy. He's affirming the consequence. There's multiple things that he's doing. False equivalency, saying that there's only 2 models. He was literally showed a third model. And just because, everybody that's tuning in here, just because Jeran can't grasp, right, that our boundary, right, our boundary is a rectangular, you can measure east, north, south, west, you get this boundary of a rectangle, and it's continuous, but it is contained. It's continuous, but that's all there is, okay? You just go in any direction, and you cross back over your path at the speed in the same spot that you were once you get back to that. And you can go any direction in our reality. And so they want to believe that they live on a spinning sphere that has gravity. Jeran's going to tell everybody that he stood upside down on the bottom of a ball that's traveling backwards through space with the sun circling around his head. No, he's circling, right? And this is where he's going to have to switch his argument, that it was the earth spinning that was causing the sun to go around his head. Because first off, they're measuring a luminary in the sky, and we can show you that the luminaries are fixed to everybody's position. You can't get closer to the end of a rainbow, nor can you the moon or the sun, right? And they act differently than the actual things that we observe on the flat plane of reality, where if they want to prove the shape of the floor, they actually have to measure the floor, right? You can do all the celestial measurements that you want. Those are great observations. We want them to actually use observable tools where they can write down the azimuths, the angles, the altitudes, everything, the speed, the direction, the sunspots. Why would you go there and not do all of these things? Jason brought it up to make the experiment better, but you're crazy and insane, right? Mine was that they need to fly to the magnetic south, right? Or just go to the South Pole at least, right? And show us what the compass does. We want to see, right? Nope, they're not going to do that. That's crazy to them, even though there's a plane in that camp where they can actually fly to. So I just don't understand why it is that they're unable to give us any of these answers.
Shills.
And I'll say it's viable. Now, it just so happens there is one that we've been presented. Again, I've given my reasons why I don't believe in that.
So he's going to deny our flat plane model, and he's going to only accept the globe explanation
model. I don't think the earth curves. I don't think people are upside down. I don't think that we spin and fly through space. Okay, that's my opinion based on the evidence that I've seen so far, but I've never seen a 24-hour sun go around my head for 3 days in Antarctica. If it did, my model, my understanding, my belief about the flat earth is wrong.
Boom. Boom, boom, boom. It is absolutely wrong. We've been showing you that for 7 years now. We got 2 timestamps left here. Let's go to this one here.
He who ignores evidence is contributing to the downfall of this society.
He's saying anybody who ignores evidence, right?
That's the setup for taking down the Bible, and anybody that thinks the earth is flat after this experiment, they're going to call you, they're going to take you down.
I think it's disgusting, really, to be honest with you. I think that anybody who ignores evidence is contributing to the downfall of this society.
That's what he's trying to do.
I don't avoid evidence. I look for it. I seek it out. It just so happens I've never had this evidence before, and I don't trust Robert Schwartzman, who keeps putting out videos.
All right, we're going to be getting into that. Let's go to his YouTube scroll.
So hang on. So he's given a shout out to a shill that filmed the 24-hour sun, but added fake clouds, added mist, right? Is that who Jeran's alluding to?
Yeah.
So he's not going to tell you about the credible 360 footage that they have during an eclipse that took place in Antarctica. He's not going to tell you about that. He's going to point all of his viewers, his audience that he's supposedly following the truth for. He sends you to a shill that admits that they added the clouds to make people discredit the information.
So we jump back to 2 hours and 3 minutes and 30 seconds here, and he's doing a YouTube scroll. And let's see what happens here.
COVID-19, remembering Bob Enyart. It's from God is Open, Biblical Tour of Greece. Bob Enyart, you'll see now, dies after COVID battle. Of course, they're going to push that real hard.
Oh, do you see how fast he saw this show up?
Bob Enyart, you'll see now, dies after COVID battle. Of course.
Quick reverse scroll. What is coming on the screen here? Previously watched the total solar eclipse 2021 at Union Glacier, Antarctica 360 experience.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if you go to the modeling program, and you look at the sun's position here where that mountain is, I'm pretty sure that should be set. The sun should be set here if we lived on a pressurized pizza dome. Yeah, right there. And what Jeran already showed on his channel.
Jeran saw it, and it says already previously viewed. All right, so this is 360 camera, so you can see all the way around. Here's Union Glacier, everyone. So these are the mountains that surround this glacier right here. This is the flat area in between. And you can see that these mountains don't get in the way. And we're going to bring up Stellarium and see where this eclipse is taking place. You can see right now all these people are lined up filming the eclipse at Union Glacier. And this is December 4th, 2021. Now, if we bring up Stellarium, you can see that we are at December 4th, 2021. We're in the early hours here. Let's go back just a hair here. So this is right at midnight, and we have a no moon that's coming into position, but here's the sun up, and here comes that eclipse. So we can see real clearly that this is in between southeast and south right here. So here's your due south, here's your southeast, and this is where the eclipse is taking place. And here that is. All right, so they are facing southeast to south, like right now.
So that means that the sun would be behind your head, looking
behind your head.
This is what Jeran's big argument has been.
Absolutely. And he's seen it. He's absolutely seen it, previously watched. And so, I mean, this is the ultimate in damning evidence. He's already.
Why doesn't he show his audience this? Put it on the screen. And this is the thing that we've been saying with the same crew for like 8-9 years, maybe 10 years for me. I don't know. I haven't checked. I don't really. But they hide things and they take them down. They don't document anything. They slow play everything. Like they're like Apple Watches. They got like 10 ahead, but they're just giving you one upgrade at a time. Why isn't Jeran investigated every single video that's ever been put out? Instead, he gives you a shill's name where they intentionally added in clouds so that people could say this is fake. There's no Antarctic sun. But the people that put up the good stuff, no, it's not good enough for Jeran. Even though he's seen it, I mean, come on.
And his last timestamp was him saying he seeks evidence, right? And
yeah,
he just goes where the evidence is. But we can clearly show that the evidence is there. He's seen it. And watch what he does here. He sees that this showed up, and he does the super quick scroll and never mentions it. Watch.
19, remembering Bob Enyart. It's from God is Open, Biblical Tour of Greece. Bob Enyart, you'll see now, dies after COVID battle. Of course, they're going to push that real hard, as they did with...
What did he say about it?
Bob Enyart, and so he sort of got a little jumbled in his words, because we're saying that they use these characters, they put them in the mainstream, they put them out in public, like Mac Parhar is one that Jason brought up. Listen, if we went into a building and there was all these Samoan people wearing Samoan clothes, wouldn't you be like, hey, why is there a bunch of Samoans in the room? Right, so all of these people like Bob Enyart, Mac Parhar, Rob Skiba were actively against the whole entire agenda publicly, and they were all popular people with large followings, and yet they all somehow managed to leave us because of it. And Jeran is saying that he's the one who follows the truth, and we're the ones saying, hey, there's something going on here. There's a bunch of Samoans all getting the thing that they said they were against, and it's being publicly shamed. Everywhere we go, you start to see an agenda here, and then you start to figure out that there's an even larger agenda to play. And that is the fact that they're going to try to say that the earth is a sphere, and that the Bible, they're going to say, is hate speech, and it's racist and misogynistic and murderous, and that the scriptures are going to be, you're not going to be allowed to, we're already super censored and banned because we read them and talk about them, but soon it's going to be illegal. And that's the true, what's behind this, right? That's what they're trying to actually debunk here, is the Bible, right? It has nothing to do with the shape of the floor. They don't care. They just want to make sure that the Bible's debunked. And when you look at it in that light, and you look at who Jeran is, as soon as Bob died, another guy that was actively against the whole agenda, and he died too, you start to see that that's what Jeran has been about his whole entire time here, right? It's all coming to a front and center. Look at this video. This is just insane.
Yeah, so if you didn't think this was the eclipse, here they are in the eclipse right now, right? So it's I dropped a link to this in the chat here, but watch the way. Let me get the audio off of this. I'm going to start it back here. We'll speed up this footage. Watch the way the sky changes color here. Clearly you can see that the sun is above the horizon 24 hours a day here because they're looking southeast. Watch this. So everybody's getting ready for the big moment. We've done this multiple times now. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. It's like really incredible, you know. I would like to be there in Antarctica. It does look a little cold.
Yeah.
I remember when this took place.
Yep. So here comes, this is the eclipse now. Everybody's getting their footage. Everybody's focused, looking southeast to south. Sun's clearly up, debunking the Freemason New World Order pressurized pizza dome, but the Earth is not spinning. The sun is actually rotating around. So there was there was the totality that took place in the sky. Right, we looked at it in Stellarium.
The sun's supposed to set. It's supposed to be below the horizon there for the Earthlings in the AE map.
Yeah, here comes. This was the moment.
Coffee Caustic Cup doesn't cut it when you see an eclipse happening there where it should both be set. Both luminaries shouldn't be there. The moon too, people. Wake up.
The moment we just watched was this moment right here, everybody. All right, so that was at 3:06:41 on December 4th at Union Glacier.
Well, and it perfectly makes sense if the reality that we're in was created in such a way that was so complex and so so it was created in a way that you could try to argue for different types of realities. You can't argue a pressurized pizza dome if you can see the dome and Jason, I don't know if you have that video where it shows the circling stars the way that it actually would be. This actually is the most incredible creation. The creation itself is just beautiful, and you can clearly measure that the floor of it's flat, and topography goes up 10 miles, goes down about 10 miles, right? And then we can only dig like 7 miles deep, and then the things in the sky, they do what they do. And if the luminaries in the sky didn't do what they did do, we wouldn't have been able to learn how to navigate here. We wouldn't know so many different things, what time of the year it was. We follow the stars, and we used to have a vast knowledge of what time of the year was just by looking at where the moon or the sun's position was with the stars, right? So I just want people to understand that there are two different things happening in this virtual reality that you're in. One, there's an existence or a plane of existence that you live on with a set boundary. We've got how far the sun travels over our head and comes back at the end of the day. That's the distance east to west. North to south, we haven't been able to investigate as much as we'd like to, but they are bringing it out. And it looks like the stars and the luminaries, everything in the sky, circle around each one of us, depending on where we are throughout the virtual realm. We have the luminaries tell a story, and we all have the congruent story. We all have the same sunspots. We all have the same face of the moon, right? It just depends on where you are. The angle that you're looking at the luminary will change what the angle of what you're looking at is. That's it. Everybody experiences it. There's not billions of different moons and billions of different suns. There's only one of each, and there's lots of stars. And then you've got the fixed stars that don't go off their course. Then you have the wandering luminaries, and those ones travel back and forth on the ecliptic. And this is it. This is the way the virtual reality was created. And it was created in such a way that you could argue for different types of realities. Do you know how crazy? You don't raise a group of rats in a maze and you just leave them in the maze. I mean, you have to understand the boundlessness, the limitlessness of how the creation was actually created. Jeran mocks it, Jason. He mocks it. He's, oh yeah, maybe the creator made it as some snot-nosed kid who wanted everybody to think they live on. Like, no, that's not. It was created in a supernatural way where you could look at something and think that it was natural, but it's actually super, where magical things, I know people don't like the word magic, but miracles take place here. They take place every day, and we've been so brainwashed that we miss it. I want to fight to bring the miracles back. That's what I'm all about. And understanding the supernatural virtual reality actually gives those miracles life again. It breathes back into them. And that's what we're going to continue to do, no matter how many people put us down, no matter how many people mock you, Jason. We're never going to stop. We're going to continue to expose your lies, all of your different psyops, and we're going to fight for the actual supernatural miracles to come back. And I know you got Will going around saying he's going to start chopping off people's arms. Well, people are making claims that limbs are growing. Like, these people, I swear, they're demons. They must be demons. I don't know, Jay. Help me out here.
It's a tough one. So all we can do is show people the evidence, the things that we're finding. So here is a moon above the horizon for 14 days, where it goes from a full moon to a waning crescent, circling 360 degrees around in the south. And you can even see one of the luminaries. My guess would be that this is Jupiter. Let's go ahead and back this up just a hair, and you can see it's probably Jupiter. Watch this. All right, so because the moon travels a little bit slower, it's falling behind. Right, so you can see the gap widen. Now all of a sudden that luminary is out of sight. We get a little bit of cloudiness here, but if you're paying attention, you can actually see that the moon is going through its phases. So we're down to about a half a moon right here. All right, now we're
see how it's a bit cloudy, right? That's what the flat earthers are going to say, that it's not real because of these types of clouds. That's what they're setting us up for.
But you can, if you had a zoom like a P1000, you could zoom in and see what they call craters, the pock marks, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're watching the height of it. It went from the full moon being lower. Now we went to the half moon. It's higher. It's starting to come back down. But all of this has been above the horizon. Now, a few cuts here and there I get, because the batteries are going to need to be replaced from time to time. But look at this thing coming down. Hasn't set 14 days. And it's gone to the waning crescent, and then it's gonna shoot off to the side as it goes down. Boom. That was the camera.
Yeah, that's phenomenal evidence, everybody. To see the phases of the moon above the horizon like that. We've been trying to find this for 10 years. All of a sudden, Will Duffy comes out, and there's all kinds of this footage. I want to talk a little bit about the chat too, Jason, while we're going on here. Zworst made a great comment that Jeran and Dirty Dave will just simply say CGI and Second Sun, and that what they do is they send their viewers to seek evidence where there is none. Go and look at the Second Sun, right? That's what Jeran does. And we got lots of good comments. YD in there is always doing a great job. Nouveau Lorado says the moon flips upside down between South America and Australia, so it cartwheels, right? It cartwheels. So now we got another 24-hour above the horizon sun in Antarctica. This one's from Anthony Powell. Is this the shill guy or no?
Yeah, this is the guy but this is 8K 360 footage.
It's not the same footage that Jeran wants you to go watch from him.
Yep.
That's so where the sun has the light thing all over it, where it's shooting the light rays out. We already went over that one.
Yeah, so this is 8K 360, where you can track it the whole way. This is really all that they need. Now, we do want them to have some sort of like a sextant type tool, because what we want is for them to actually track the azimuth and altitude. This is a little slow at 8K. Let's go 4K on it. All right, so you can track it all the way around. You can see whether or not you see any cuts in this. I haven't seen any cuts.
So Zworst brings up too, with my point, why are they not going to the South Pole? It's crazy. Zworst says you can drive or traverse from McMurdo to South Pole. It's 995 miles, or fly in 3 hours. 3 hours. Why would anybody not want to go? How could you go to the bottom of a supposed sphere for an experiment or an observation and not go and observe the sun from the actual bottom, from the bottom of the ball, and then tell me where the sun was when it was circling around your head that day? Because, Jason, it only takes between the hours of 12 o'clock midnight until 8 in the morning. If that is the only block of time where you actually have to be out and film the sun just once, doing that between midnight, because we know there's midnight suns all over the place. There's lots of evidence for that. Not as many videos showing the 24-hour sun above the horizon. So you only need 1 day, okay, 2 days, if you want to make sure maybe one day's got some clouds. Then the 3rd, 4th, 5th, are they there for 6, 7 days? Why would you not go to the bottom of the ball and then measure those angles from there? To me, it just seems crazy, Jason.
Yep. But you can see that this is obviously, a Freemason base, because they got the phallic symbol right at the front door of this thing.
Talking about it. This is ta-da! Check this video out, right? Like, come on. I don't know what's with the Freemasons in there. I know if you take the Freemason compass and square and you put a G in it, it can spell you some pretty funny words. I'm not going to say it here because I want everybody to do what they want. But the symbolism is weird. Like, is there like a mushroom farm here on the glacier? Is that what we're paying homage to? Or I don't know.
No, it's Freemasons. They're into the gay sex stuff. So yeah, we're gonna keep showing this stuff over and over and over. Jeran's gonna keep denying it over and over and over.
Well, no, he's saying it's true, it's real. He's not showing it because he doesn't believe that there's any evidence for it, but he's willing to go there. He's flying to the Antarctica, right?
Yeah. So we got in the bonus stream. We were able to get through Jeran's damage control, trying to throw cover for Will Duffy, and boy, we got so much more to go through. So
yeah. Well, and the last thing about that was, it's funny because we brought up a few times that Sovereign Soul Unchained guy was literally on his new podcast last night, and 2 days or 3 days ago, Jeran put out that, or 5 days, damage video calling those guys out, right? How come they didn't do that live, like, and discuss it and have Jeran defend it? Why did Jeran have to do a rebuttal stream?
Yeah. So we have somebody in the chat. Endless says he lives in Tasmania, 40 degrees south. During summer, the sun rises significantly south of east and rises significantly south of west, and sets. And that's all we needed to know that the AE map and model was impossible. We were shouting that out for 7 years now.
Yeah, it rises way south of east and sets way south of west. And not only that, but obviously Endless can verify for everybody that the stars circle clockwise in his circle of sight, looking south, and looking north. I'd have to see. He would have to film it, but I'm pretty sure they rise from the east to the west. It's a great argument to get into with the way that the model works, and hopefully we'll be able to get deeper into all that.
Absolutely. I've got a new video coming out that's going to be showing that even closer. So lots of stuff, and thank you everybody for joining. Hopefully you were able to see through the facade that Jeran puts up and see that he's actually a globe earth shill working to tank flat earth, and then he's going to say that the Bible's not true and he's on a globe and all that kind of stuff. But fundamental truth number 2 is in the description box. It was created to defend against this type of attack, and we're gonna stand the ground.
Yeah, against Bitcoin grifting. What are his other qualities? Bitcoin grifting. Now he's going to be globe earth, bat blood selling Jesuit Jeran.
His witchcraft store and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. Nasty character. He's a gross one, but it feels good getting him exposed.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. Let's see what he keeps saying, and hopefully he'll say stereographic virtual reality some more.
He's going to have to. Well, thank you, brother. Where's the only place people are going to get this content?
Only on the Yahawashai News Networks.
I feel something, I can't explain it, and there ain't nothing that can erase it. Let it carry us through the edges, calm the oceans, and turn our pages. There's a piece